Hey there, in this video, I'm going to be going through the account structure evolution. So in the last video, I talked a bit about like overarching themes like campaigns versus ad sets versus ads, and previewed down the line what your account structure could look like in terms of testing different interests. But in this video, I really break it down more granularly. I actually break it down into weeks. In terms of like in week 1 or 2, I recommend you test this structure, week 3 or 4, test this structure, and so forth. And I'll kind of explain the process between what variables I like to test when I first start out, how I like to set it up, and then explain the reasons why I change some variables and the optimization as time goes on. So that's all good stuff. I would say also make sure to watch the building tutorial of me going through and building the starting account structure, because there I go also into more detail about what all this terminology means, where to click to actually set this up. So if this video starts to look a bit overwhelming, I would say pause, go watch the actual ads manager tutorial where I'm building out the starting account structure, just so you can get a better understanding of some of the terminology that I'm talking about and where I'm clicking. Then come back to this video and see how this structure evolves over time. So without further ado, let's get into it. So on this account structure evolution document, I have it separated out via campaigns. I have some details about the ad set, number of ads, and then some general notes. So when you're first starting out on TikTok, sound like a broken record. If you're e-commerce, you're going to start optimizing for add to cart. You're going to have one campaign, one ad set. We're keeping it consolidated. We are not spreading out our budget off for multiple campaigns or ad set. One campaign, one ad set. Your targeting is going to be an interest stack, which means that you're stacking a lot of different interests into one ad set. And my ads manager tutorial video goes into more detail about how to select those and best practices for that. Budget. Well, this account structure has a budget. I put 100%, which basically means like, because you don't have multiple ad sets or campaigns, this ad set is getting 100% of your total budget. So that's not something really to worry about. Bidding. When you first start out, you're going to bid for conversions. Now, this doesn't mean like purchases, like you're still bidding for add to carts, but at the bottom of your ad set, you'll be prompted to choose whether you're bidding for conversions or traffic, or if you're going to do cost cap or lowest cost. So that's what this is referring to. So at the very bottom of your ad set setup, which I go through in the other video, you'll select conversions and lowest cost bidding. Now, number of ads. When I first start out, I do 3 to 5 ads. Just as not to have too many variables that spread out. You don't want to give TikTok too many variations where it's going to like pick one ad and just spend all the budget on there and ignore your other 10 that you have in there. So that's not the right way to do it. You also don't want to have too little to where TikTok has a hard time optimizing because it doesn't have enough creatives to rotate through and test for that audience. So 3 to 5 is really the sweet spot. And that really depends on your creative capabilities, your budget. If your starting budget a day is like $50, let's just say something on the lower side, go on the lower side number to ads. That means you should do 3. If you have at least, I'm going to say arbitrarily, like $300, just because I tell my clients, I usually say if we're able to spend at least $300 a day, which means that we're based off and this is all based off of your average order value and the calculators I went through before of determining how much budget you're going to need. But let's say in this client's case, a $300 daily budget would more than suffice to get us to that 50 add to carts a week threshold on the ad set. Then I would recommend going towards the higher end where we have 5 ads in the ad set. And it depends on your creative capabilities too. So if you are able to find 5 really great ads, by all means, but 3 is also more than fine for just starting out. So the idea with this ad set is you're going to launch it with your 3 to 5 ads. You're going to run it until you reach 1,000 add to carts on the lifetime of the pixel and 50 conversions a week on the ad set. Conversions meaning add to carts, because we're optimizing for add to carts. So when I'm referring to conversion events a week, that's talking about 50 add to carts a week on that ad set recorded in TikTok Ads Manager And don't touch this. Do not touch your ad set for 2 weeks. Number one mistake I see TikTok marketers make is they come in, they're all excited, launching ads, and then like a couple of days later, they're already tweaking with stuff. They're turning off different audiences, they're adding in new creatives, they're tweaking stuff, they're getting rid of age targeting. No. Do not touch it. Do not touch it. TikTok has no idea who your ideal customer is. They have no idea who you are. This is TikTok's exploration phase. They are going out into the world with your ads, serving them, and they're getting data. They're learning who's interacting with them, who's clicking on them. You have to give it that time to learn. This is also not the time to scrutinize your ad performance. This is not the time to be like refreshing your browser every hour and being like, why aren't I getting any sales? Like TikTok is purely an exploration, learning. Who are you? What are these ads? What is this advertiser? Who is responding to it? Every time you touch the ad set, that's just going to reset the learning phase. So have confidence in your creatives, like follow all the creative best practices, put your best foot forward, have a good landing page that's conversion focused and fast and all that good stuff. Compelling ad copy. But once you decide on those factors, like leave this alone for 2 weeks. Don't tinker with the budget. Don't tinker with anything, because that's just what's going to set you back more time. So let it be. Let it chill. Now, let's just say, and when I say like 1 to 2 weeks, like this is all depending on your budget too, and like how fast you're getting to 1,000 add to carts on the Pixel and 50 add to carts per ad set a week. So it's not going to be 2 weeks for everyone. It might be a few days. It might be a few more weeks. It really depends on those variables. So I'm just giving you my client experience. I work with TikTok clients a lot, and I found that this is kind of the general timeline, just so you have like some like context to like when I'm working with clients. Usually in the first couple weeks, this is the setup I have. I'm not touching it. I'm using interest stack, letting it ride. This is how I'm setting it up. But it is variable in terms of like how much time it's going to take to get through this first learning phase, if you will, of getting to 50 add to carts a week consistently and getting 1,000 add to carts on the Pixel. So this step might last longer for 2 weeks, and that's completely fine. I would say so here's the decision tree. If you you've ran this for 2 weeks, you haven't touched it, that's step one. And if you have reached 1,000 add to carts on the Pixel, then you can move on to step 2, which is the second tab, which is like this account structure week 3 to 4, where you optimize for initiate checkout. But this phase might take longer than 2 weeks. That's completely normal. In fact, I would say it's more than common where it takes longer than 2 weeks when you're first starting out. After 2 weeks, then you can start tinkering with some variables. Like you ran your ads for 2 weeks, you gave it some time to learn, and then you notice, okay, my click-through rate is under 1%. And I've mentioned before, like between 1 and 2% is considered great. Above 2% is like, oh my gosh, wow. Anything below 1%, you need to start thinking about like, why aren't people interacting with my creatives? You need to get better ads. So after 2 weeks of doing this, I wouldn't say just keep burning money if your click-through rate is really bad. Like I would say, let's turn off your existing ads, throw in some new ones, or turn off the bad performers, rotating in some new ones. So you have 3 to 5 ads active at a time. Or alternatively, maybe the situation is you have a really good click-through rate, it's above 1%, but the conversion rate's really low. Like once you're getting a lot of traffic to your site, but like I mentioned before, that traffic to add to cart rate, so the percentage of people who are actually adding to cart once they get to your site, let's say that's really low. So your bounce rate's really high. Then you'd be thinking about, okay, do I need to test a new offer? Do I need to run a sale? What's my landing page like? Like why am I getting good traffic to my site from TikTok and why aren't they converting? Then you start thinking about those and you're like, okay, maybe I'm going to test different landing pages. I'm going to test a caption that says like get 20% off when you use code TikTok. I'm trying to increase the conversion rate. So that's how I would think about it. So then you can start messing with those variables, the creatives, the copy, the landing page. Let it run for 2 weeks. Like I said, first 2 weeks, give it your best shot, but don't touch anything. Just kind of let TikTok like learn about you. If you're still in that learning phase of trying to get to 1,000 add to carts, still keep that one ad set, that one campaign that should stay the same. You can, and another thing I mentioned in another video is that on a weekly basis, I like to go in and edit the ad set, and I like to see what interest TikTok is recommending. So there's a button on your interest targeting where it will say like, we recommend these 15 new interests. So once a week, I have a task for myself to go in and add those new interests. So that's 100% fine to do. I would, after you get through that 2 weeks of not doing anything, but then you're like, okay, I'm not getting to my 1,000 add to carts. What do I do? I would go in, I would add those recommended interests. I would look through the ad creatives. I would see if that's the problem or if it's the landing page and start thinking about it in terms of that while you try to get to this learning phase, because you can't move on to the next step until you get 1,000 add to carts on the pixel and consistently getting 50 add to carts a week on the ad set. So that's how I like to think about it. But you can make those tweaks. And those are things that I do with clients. Like once we run ads for 2 weeks, in that 2 week period, I'll start seeing like, okay, this ad's getting a better click-through rate. This one's getting more conversions. I'm going to go and try to make some more ads that are similar to this so that next week I can have some new ads to launch and I'll kill the lower ones and I'll add in the new ones. So on a weekly basis for all my clients, I'm adding in new creatives. I'm killing the lowest performers and adding in new ones to the ad set. So that's something I already do on a weekly basis, but that's something that you should be doing as well. Resource permitting, that every week you're able to at least test 1 or 2 new ad creatives and kill the lower performers. So this is first step. Everything goes good and you're able to get through this add to cart learning phase in a couple weeks. Then we move on to the initiate checkout phase. And in this phase, we're going to have 2 ad sets. This is your original ad set that's add to cart interest stack. So instead of just completely turning off that add to cart ad set while you launch this new initiate checkout ad set, I do like to keep them both on at the same time for a week while the initiate checkout optimized ad set kind of ramps up, for lack of a better word. I don't want to just turn off an ad set, the add to cart one, and just turn on a new initiate checkout one, because I don't know if the initiate checkout one is going to work as well as the add to cart ad set yet. So that's why I recommended put 20% of your total budget on the add to cart ad set and then 80% of your budget on the initiate checkout ad set, and keep the targeting the same. Both of the targeting should be like broad interest stacks. And then for conversions, still lowest cost, 3 to 5 ads. Now, when to kill that add to cart original ad set? Only kill it once your initiate checkout ad set is consistently getting 50 conversions a week. It may take a week or so for that initiate checkout ad set to ramp up and to start getting 50 initiate checkouts a week on the ad set. If you're finding that your add to cart ad set is the only one that can get consistently 50 conversions a week, then you should continue to run on add to cart and not transfer over to initiate checkout completely just yet. I would keep them both on at the same time. If you start running this for a couple weeks and your initiate checkout ad set is getting 50 conversions a week, no problem, then you could feel confident with turning off the add to cart ad set. But I often find that more often than not, the initiate checkout ad set takes a while to ramp up and has a difficult time getting to those 50 initiate checkouts a week per ad set right at the start. So I'll keep the add to cart one on. And as long as the add to cart one is getting 50 conversions a week, then that's okay. You want to prioritize over everything that the ad set is getting 50 conversions a week. It doesn't matter whether it's add to cart or initiate checkout. That's really like the North Star of getting the learning phase and having your ads optimized. So that's more important than like moving on to initiate checkout, if that makes sense. So I'll run these concurrently, and you'll run this initiate checkout ad set until you get 1,000 initiate checkouts on the lifetime of the pixel, and you're consistently getting 50 conversions events a week on the ad set. And then again, checking back weekly to kill the lower performers. So I'll go in and kill the ones with like the highest CPA and the lowest click-through rate. I'll enter in new creatives. So I'm still kind of doing like that weekly ad cleanup, is that how I like to call it. I don't go in every day and kill ads and launch ads. I think that resets the learnings too much. and kind of doesn't let TikTok learn. It's all about letting TikTok learn. That's like such a huge theme in this course, is like you need to give it the time and the space and the room to optimize. So that's why I said, like, on a weekly basis, I'll go in and I'll kill the lower performing ads. I'll add in some new creatives. I'll add in new interests to the ad set. But other than that, I'm trying to keep things stable, not test too many variables at a time, not to make too many changes at a time. So I call this week 3 to 4, but like I said, that can completely change depending on how fast you're getting through these learning phases of getting 1,000 initiate checkouts on the lifetime of the pixel and consistently getting 50 initiate checkouts a week. Once you're able to get 50 initiate checkouts a week consistently and reach that 1,000 initiate checkout threshold, then what I would do is I would have 2 ad sets. So I call this weeks 4 to 6, where I have my initiate checkout ad set, the one that was already running. Now that has 20% of the budget. And I'm going to run this ad set until my purchase optimized campaign gets consistently 50 conversions a week. And that's pretty much it, because you're not waiting to get 1,000 purchases on the pixel, because you're planning to run purchase complete payment optimized ad sets essentially forever after this. Like, you're never really going back a step where you optimize for initiate checkout or add to cart. Like, once you reach that 1,000 initiate checkouts on the pixel, then you can run complete payment ad sets forever. So, but like I said, you don't want to just like completely turn off your old stuff, turn on a purchase optimized ad set, like leave on what's working. You have learnings on that initiate checkout ad set. So I would distribute 20% of the original budget towards that initiate checkout ad set, launch my new purchase optimized ad set. I'm still checking back weekly to media buy, kill ads, all that good stuff. And so that's weeks 4 to 6. Now, once I kill that initiate checkout campaign, now I'm only running purchase optimized campaigns. Woohoo! And like I mentioned, TikTok, it's all about getting to this purchase optimized campaigns, like the complete payment, whatever the lowest thing in your funnel is, if you're not e-commerce. But for my e-commerce clients, that's complete payment. Once you're able to optimize for that and you're consistently able to get 50 complete payments a week on your ad set, this is when you can scale. This is when you can start doubling, tripling your budgets. Like, this is where TikTok becomes like your best channel. But you have to go through this annoying learning phase, which sucks, but you have to do it. It's necessary evil, because the reason you do that is so you can get to this phase where you can just confidently optimize for purchase forever. And that's really the goal here, is to get to this purchase optimization. Now, once you're here, now what I do, once I'm able to optimize for purchase, now I start split testing purchase optimized for conversions lowest cost versus value, which is highest value bidding. At the time of recording this is February of 2022. Value optimization is still in beta. It's only available to TikTok agencies, but TikTok is very good at releasing beta features to the public very quickly, and value optimization is working super well. And it's been around for a few months now under beta. I really do think any day now, week now, hopefully as soon as possible for you guys, that they will release value optimization to everybody. So I'm talking about this and you might be like, oh, I don't see this in my ad account, so I'm sorry. But once you'll get it eventually. Like, there's no way they're not going to release this to the public very, very soon. So, or you can work with a TikTok agency, hit me up, or work with another partner that has access to this beta, and you'll be good to go. So now what I do is I split testing my value, highest value bidding is what it's called, versus conversions lowest cost bidding. And I'll split the budget 50-50. This is really a split test to see which bidding strategy works best for the ad account. So I would say run this test for 2 weeks, see which bidding strategy works the best, then kill the other ad set. Try to keep all variables the same, like the same targeting, same creatives, copy, landing pages in both ad sets. Really what we're trying to test now is whether purchase optimized for value works best or purchase optimized for conversions lowest cost works best. I'm going to say, just based off of this beta I've been in with value optimization every single time has outbeat purchase conversions lowest cost. So I'm going to say that this test will probably result in the same result for you, but I'm all about testing. I'm never about just like blindly saying, do this, do that. Like always test it in your own account. And it is still so new. Like when I'm saying like in all my accounts, this has worked. Like this beta I've tested for like 5 clients now and it's worked well. So I'm not going to say like it's worked for everyone, but I would say I feel pretty confident that value is going to perform better than conversions lowest cost. So once you do get it in your ad account, keep on your existing conversions lowest cost campaign. Like I mentioned, you don't want to just like turn off your old stuff that's working and has learning just to turn on something new. Like keep on the old one at 50% budget and then launch your value highest value bidding. And you also may have noticed I've bumped up the number of ads. Once I'm able to optimize per purchase, then I feel more confident putting in 5 to 7 active ads in an ad set at a time. This is because once I'm optimizing per purchase and I have enough budget to get to 50 purchases a week, that is enough budget to support more creative testing. So before, when you're optimizing for add to cart or initiate checkout, you're probably gonna have a lot lower budget than you will when you're optimizing for purchase and you see how great TikTok's working and you're pouring money into this platform. I don't like giving numbers because everything is different depending on your conversion rate and average order value. But I would say for clients where I'm spending anywhere from like 500 to 1,000 plus a day on TikTok ads, I feel confident having like 5 to 7 ads, and that's usually no problem. More than 7, it's kind of pointless because like I said, TikTok will kind of pick its favorite ads, maybe 1 or 2 and spend on those. So if you have more than 7, it's probably just going to spend like pennies on your other variations. So it all depends on your budget, but 5 to 7 is a good place to be once you are optimizing for purchase and you have a healthy budget each day. Now, here's my next step. Once I figure out which bidding strategy works best for my account, which I think will be highest value bidding. As you can see, I even put it here. I think that's gonna be the result of this test, but test it for yourself. Or if by the time you're watching this video, you don't have value optimization in your ad account, then you can just skip this test and go straight to this portion where you are testing your interests. And this is what I was going over in the whiteboard session, where I have one ad set that's my interest stack. I have another, I would say test another ad set that's completely broad, just to see how it works compared to interests. There are advertisers that say broad works better for them. I've seen some accounts where lookalikes work good. So it's not like value optimization or these other things where I'm saying like absolute, like this works best. Like there is flexibility. Most of the time I say the interest stack work the best. I'm just keeping it real of what I see because I've ran a lot of these tests. However, there's some accounts where I find like, oh, like I tested a lookalike based off of last 30-day purchasers and it's crushing it. So I totally think that you should test it out. I also put the budget as 50% when really we have 3 variables. So there you go. 33% budget. So split your budget even between all 3 ad sets. Try to keep your other variables the same in terms of your bidding strategy, the ad variables, like the videos you're testing and the copy and landing pages. Really the variable that you're trying to isolate now is the targeting. So, and then from weeks 10 on, like you're just optimizing for purchase. And maybe every week or so you test a new audience. Like if you find that your lookalike based off of purchasers work well, then you can think of a new audience. Like, oh, I'm going to try a lookalike based off of add to cart. There's not like set things where it's like, oh, this lookalike performs better than this one, blah, blah, blah. I mean, I've seen like lookalikes based off of add to carts and purchasers from the pixel work really well. But you could test different lookalikes. I think that's a worthwhile thing to do. But really, for most of my ad accounts, like I like to keep things so consolidated. Like I'll have like a broad, if I'm spending like $5,000 a day on an ad account, like I'll maybe have like 2 ad sets. Like I have like my interest stack and I have like a lookalike audience ad set. So you're never getting to a point where you're having like hundreds of ad sets. I would not recommend that. The only time I would recommend like separating out ad sets, I guess, is if like you're targeting like different countries and you want like those separated out and you have enough budget to support that. Or maybe you want one ad set just for your Spark ads and then have all of your non-Spark ads in another ad set. I've done that too. I would say personally, I like to add my Spark ads into my existing ad sets. I don't like creating a new ad set for Spark ads. So, but I've seen other accounts where they do that. So there is reasons to have more than one ad set, and some of it is for splitting things out to make it more organized, for audience testing. But really do try like not to just have hundreds of ad sets for the sake of having hundreds of ad sets. Like you will have much better performance if you put $5,000 a day on one ad set than if you put $5,000 on 10 different ad sets and set $500 each. That will be the worst performing campaign. So more consolidated, the better. And you'll learn from these different tests what works best for your ad account in terms of the interests. And of course, you'll get learnings on the creatives. So you'll get better at seeing what creative types work best, what you need, what landing pages are working the best. And that's really what, when I'm media buying every week for my clients, I'm looking at the creatives. Like I'm going straight to the ads tab and seeing which creatives are getting the most spend, which one's getting the best click-through rate, which ones have the highest conversion rate. That's really where my mind goes, as opposed to like, oh, I need to test a new audience or a new bidding strategy. Like kind of leave that alone. You already tested that at the beginning of this process. But once you find like an audience that works, I just keep every week, I'll just add like another 500, another 1,000, whatever it is to that ad set, depending on performance, and keep rotating through creatives, trying to learn each week which creatives worked, which ones didn't. Because like I said, I'm rotating in new creatives each week and killing the bad performers. So that's how I like to think about it. I'm trying to think if there's anything else in terms of account setup. I would say one other thing that you may run into on TikTok ads, you can only have 20 ads maximum in an ad set. So you may, or you will get to the point where, because you're every week, hopefully you're rotating in new ads, you're killing the bad ones. You don't want to necessarily delete out old like your off ads from your ad set, because you'll lose that like spend data on those ads you turned off. So I never like delete an ad that's ran, but what will happen is, because TikTok will only allow you to have 20 ads per ad set, you will reach a point like in a few weeks of running ads where your original ad set will say like your ad set is full. You cannot add any new creatives to this ad set. So nothing to be alarmed about. What I usually do is I'll just create another ad set and split the budget 50-50. So I'll put 50% of the budget on the old ad set, the one that's full, that has like 20 ads that were at one time active. I still only have 3 to 5 ads active in ad set, but I just can't add any new creatives to the existing ad set because there's already 20 in there. So what I do is I just create a new ad set, and I'll put half of the budget on the old, half of the budget on the new, and I'll put my new ads in the new ad set. I'll duplicate it, so all of the targeting and the ad set settings are exactly the same. I'm essentially just duplicating the ad set so that I can add in new creatives, since I don't want to delete out old creatives. So that's why I do that. And then I might find like, oh, the new creatives are performing way better than the creatives in the old ad sets. And then I can even just completely kill the old ad set if the new creatives in the new ad set are performing that much better. So that's something you'll run into. And like I said, for Spark ads, I like to just add them to my existing ad sets as I get access to those. So nothing special there. But yeah, that is my account structure for prospecting. For some brands, I'll make another campaign that will target like custom audiences. Like if I want to target people who have engaged with our ads, have been to our website in the last 180 days, I'll have a video on how to create custom audiences in TikTok, and that's how you'll create lookalikes as well. But that's really not a priority for my clients. Like my clients are really just caring about prospecting, like driving new customers with TikTok, as opposed to using it for retargeting platforms. So I don't really run any retargeting ads on TikTok, like very rarely. So, but that's something you can do. And I would say do that like after you've already nailed your prospecting campaign. Like, you know, like what targeting works good, you know what creatives are working good, you're adding budget. Like don't worry about like creating a retargeting campaign right off the bat. Like maybe this is something you do in like weeks 10 plus, like once you've already like feel comfortable with the platform and have some learnings about creatives. So this is really it. Like I have one campaign, I follow this structure. The only other time I'll have another campaign is, and I mentioned another beta feature, so hopefully this is like solved by the time I release this course, but there is a new campaign objective that's called followers objective. And essentially you can bid to get more followers on your organic profile. So this is a campaign type that I've tested for a couple clients, and it's resulted in getting really cheap followers for their organic profile. Like we're seeing between like 10 and 20 cent costs per follow. So when that does become available to everyone, I would say that's another worthwhile campaign to test once you've already gotten through the learning phase on your prospecting campaign and those are rolling. Like if you're like, how else can I leverage TikTok? I would say to try out a separate campaign. And this is something I usually run on a very small budget, like maybe like $100 a day, where I'm just bidding to get new followers. Like my goal is not conversions or purchases or anything like that. My goal is just to get new followers. So that's a worthwhile campaign to test. But other than that, this is it. This is the secret sauce of how to set up your ad account. And I hope this was helpful.